this week's episode of Ant on Music. I, of course, am your humble host, Ant, and this week we're going to take a look at one of my rabbit hole artists. I've mentioned rabbit holes before, and this is definitely one of them for me. This is, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and they've had a recent bunch of re-releases for the Bad Seeds side project, Grinderman, so I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I ended up becoming a Nick Cave fan, and I consider myself a fairly decent-sized fan of his. I really do dig Nick's writings. I love his Red Hand Files. If you don't know what that is, go check that out online. Nick basically answers questions from fans about anything. There's no subject that's off topic. Before we get into it, if you're new here, thanks for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. Hope you dig it enough that you stick around, check out some other episodes that are here on the channel, and most importantly, subscribe. That's what I want you to do. I want you to subscribe. We've cleared 400 viewers, which for me is quite a bit. It's been a little over 2 years, starting the third year of Ant on Music, and I dig it. I enjoy sharing my collection, my thoughts, everything that I have going on with you as far as music is concerned. Did get an opportunity this week to catch a show. I don't get out very often, but when I am released from my cage, I do like to take in a good old-fashioned rock and roll show. Me and the Mrs. Ant on Vinyl, we got to take in Def Leppard, my wife's favorite band, along with the Struts, who I'd never seen and been wanting to see for years. And the show was pretty good. We went to Bethel Woods, Center for the Performing Arts, which is on the original grounds of Woodstock, Max Yasgur's farm. Very cool venue, very well put together place except for the parking, which is a story for another day. But just an awesome show. It was cool to get out with the wife and take in some live music, which I always love. So, if you're not new here and you are a subscriber, thank you so much. Thumbs up. Hit the little bell so this way you get reminders about the show when it comes on. Lots of stuff. Still lots of stuff coming out in the next few weeks and over the next few months. Gonna probably do a catch-up show next. A catch-up show is where I get all the stuff that I've been picking up and haven't really had the opportunity to do anything with and say, hey, I got this stuff too. Isn't it cool? So that I've got quite a few. I didn't realize how many albums I'd been picking up, crate digging and whatnot at my local record stores like Disc and Dad over in Bethel and Jerosa Records in Danbury and also over in Poughkeepsie at Darkside. So I've picked up quite a few things, which is kind of neat. But Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. How did I end up Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds fan? All right, believe it or not, three-prong attack here. All right, I wasn't really a big Nick Cave fan. I was aware, but never really dove into it. I'm a metalhead and prog guy by trade. That's what I grew up on. So when did I first come aware of Nick Cave? Probably back in the 80s. Just didn't click. Like sometimes things just click all of a sudden. And it did. And it clicked of all places first time round was Harry Potter. Harry Potter movies. Yes. The song "Oh Children" from Nick's masterpiece "Abattoir Blues" Orpheus's Lyre, say that 10 times fast, had the song "Oh Children" in it, in a very moving scene between Harry and Hermione. I believe it's during the Deathly Hallows. Might be an earlier movie, but probably Deathly Hallows. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it's like, who's this? Oh, wow, it's Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. It's really neat. I like this. And then, that was it. Then the next go round, I started reading Mark Lanigan's book. Okay, and he mentioned hanging out with Nick Cave and how Nick Cave basically came, not only hung out, but copped drugs off Mark. And I was like, wow. Nick Cave ran in the same circles as Mark Lanigan, who I also really dig. And that's another rabbit hole for another day. And then finally, last year, when he released Wild God, he went out on tour with one of my favorite newer artists, Annie Clark, known to everybody as St. Vincent, who I absolutely adore. So I was like, something? I got to give Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds another chance. And I did, and I'm like kicking myself because I was like, why didn't I listen to this guy earlier? This is crazy. This stuff is awesome. Now, Nick Cave basically has like a lot of artists, they have different phases to their career. Like if you're a Rush fan like me, it's like their stuff comes in like blocks of 3. You know, you get 3 albums, a live album, 3 albums, a live album. With Nick, it's like early on, you know, very new wave, not new wavy, but in that new wave groove, a little bit more raucous. Then all of a sudden he became very introspective in a lot of ways. And stuff like Oh Children, you know, much more, you know, grounded, I guess is the best way to say it, or more gravitas is another way of looking at it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool stuff. And then he had this side project, which is 4/7 of the Bad Seeds. And it's Grinderman, and it's very like garage rock, very raucous, very untamed, kind of rude in a lot of ways. The language is coarse. All things that I love about rock and roll. So recently, within the past couple of weeks, they've recently re-released all 3 of the Grinderman albums. Who knows? Maybe we're going to get another Grinderman album soon. That would be neat. So we're going to take a look at those, and also a Nick Cave box set that I happen to have that I've never shown on the channel before. And I know this because I've never shown any Nick Cave on the channel before. So without further ado, let's first look at Grinderman. Okay, and this is, you know, you're in for a good time. One of my good friends' wives, my friend Patty, had mentioned about the parental advisory sticker on records and how she had said, I bet you and Steve, her husband, my bestie, you must have had a lot of those albums back in the 80s. That's like, damn straight I did. I still do. And in fact, it's probably the reason why I bought so many albums was because of that sticker. Because what's better than, you know, being in an all-boys Catholic high school and growing up in a very religious environment like I did, and, you know, getting to stick the finger at things, which is awesome. And here's the other hype sticker from there. So we've got Grinderman, the acclaimed debut album from Nick Cave, Warren Ellis, Martin Casey, and Jim Sclavunos. So right there, so we got the Grinderman, and here is the album right there, Grinderman. This is a gatefold, this one. And these are all reissues. This is pretty cool. You got Nick there sporting a very funky mustache, which I must admit that I've shaved my face into that mustache as well. Who knows what'll be next? And you know, it's pretty basic from a look of the album, black on black. And there's nothing better than black on black as far as I'm concerned. That's about as cool as it gets when it comes to rock and roll. The more black, the better. You know, kind of like Spinal Tap. And this album, all right, here's the track listings on it. You've got Get It On, which is a great way to kick off the album. Then you've got the No Pussy Blues, which is just a fantastic song. Electric Alice. Then you got the title track, Grinderman, which is awesome. Depth Charge Ethel, which is really cool. Go Tell the Women. You know, I Don't Need You to Set Me Free. Honeybee, Let's Fly to Mars. Man in the Moon, When My Love Comes Down, and then it stops with Love Bomb. And start to finish, the album really grinds out, you know, like these harsh guitar tunes, and it's much different than what had preceded it, which is pretty much everything on the wall behind me and one after me with Wild God. You know, where it's like I said, it's much more just straight up raw in your face. It's not punk, it's not Iggy Pop or anything like that, but it is pretty raw, and it's, you know, it's a great to listen to with the stereo up and the windows down in the car, which you don't do with vinyl, but you can do with other forms of music. So that's the first one. Then they came back and did another one, which was Grinderman 2, the appropriately titled. And with that, once again, same 4 guys. Here's the hype sticker on that one. We'll take a look at that, as well as the booklet contained therein. Very cool. We got like a foil embossed cover there, and on this one, once again, we've got, you know, basic black, but we do have more foil embossing on the back. Very cool with the titles of the tracks. And you also get this cool booklet in here, which has illustrations for basically every song on the album. And the artwork, let me see, I got to make sure I get the name right. Artwork was by Alinka Hoffner. Okay, she did the work for this. Very interesting take on the world of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds in the form of Grinderman on this one. And I dig this album. There's a lot of good tracks on here as well. Mickey Mouse and the Goodbye Man I like. Worm Tamer's cool. Heathen Child is probably my favorite track on here. When My Baby Comes, What I Know, Evil. Kitchenette, Palace of Montezuma, and the Bellringer Blues, which I also really dig that one too. But I like everything on the album. Like I said, I've become a full-blown Nick Cave devotee, even in the form of Grinderman. And inside, it's even patterned inside. See if you can get a look at that. So a lot of great care put into the re-releases of these albums. And since I really didn't listen to them prior to this, it's great for me to get them on vinyl. I didn't have to give up a kidney to get them because they're re-releases. Next on the list, what they did was they did a remix album called Grinderman 2: The Remix. And they've got some outstanding people on this. And for me, the big takeaway for this is Robert Fripp. As you've heard me say before, I'm a big King Crimson fan. Love Fripp. He is the king of all freakiness as far as guitar goes. And, if you say, I don't know anything about Robert Fripp, King Crimson. If you've heard Heroes by David Bowie, you've heard Robert Fripp. I mean, the dude is a beast. And on this is a double album. Okay. We do have some funky artwork and liner notes in here. All right, there's Nick. And also, it's got the rest of the band in various forms of static, I guess you could say. And this basically has a great track listing compiled from Grinderman. Starts off with Super Heathen Child, which is Grinderman with Robert Fripp throwing his guitar weirdness on top of it, which is awesome. Worm Tamer, A Place to Bury Strangers mix. Bellringer Blues Nick Zimmer mix is very cool. Hyper Worm Tamer by Grinderman and Uncle. Mickey Bloody Mouse by Joshua Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, which is awesome. When My Baby Comes, Cat's Eyes with Luke Tristram. Palaces of Montezuma, Barry Addison's remix. Evil, the Silver Alert remix featuring Matt Berringer. When My Baby Comes, Six Toes remix. Heathen Child, Andrew Weatherall remix, which is also really cool. It kind of helps that I really like that track. Evil, the Michael Cliff House remix. And First Evil remix by Grinderman themselves. All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, all good stuff there. Nothing in here. Same thing like the first album. Nothing to see there. But very cool nonetheless. Finally, the big get, which I've never shown this before, and I love this. One of the things I dig, and on a past episode recently, I talked about the Whole and Entire, the new Bruce Springsteen box set, which I think is phenomenal that he put such great attention and care into it with releasing those LPs that had never been released prior to their release a couple of weeks back, with all the missing stuff that was in there prior, like from After Nebraska to, almost present pretty much. And they were whole complete albums. This is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other in a lot of ways. Talking about the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds B-Sides and Rarities album. All right, and this is parts 1 and 2. All right, collected everything. Hopefully there's a part 3 somewhere along the line. And, from a look, it's very, very basic looking. But you get an awesome bunch of tracks in here, tons and tons of stuff. It's hard to see, I can tell, because of the reflection, because of the glossy finish of the outer case. But this kind of gives you an alternative history of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Okay, you get acoustic versions, you get B-sides, things that were never released other than on, B-sides of singles. And they're all the same from the perspective of their look. Very basic, very black and white. That's the aesthetic with this album. But like I always say, the most important thing is the music. And the music in here is phenomenal. It kicks off with Diana, an acoustic version. Then you get more acoustic versions with The Mercy Seat and City of Refuge. The Moon is in the Gutter, cool tune. The Six Strings That Drew Blood, Rye Whiskey, Running Scared, Black Betty, Scum, The Girl at the Bottom of My Glass, love that tune. The Train Song. Then we get some more rudeness from Nick with Cocks and Asses, Bluebird. And then on part 2, album 2, we get Helpless, God's Hotel, I'll Love You Till the End of the World, great tune. Cassile's song, Tower of Song, which is also cool. What Can I Give You? What a Wonderful World. Rainy Night in Soho, Lucy version 2. Acoustic version of Jack the Ripper. And Sail Away, another fantastic tune. Now we have this, volume 3 of this. The Ballad of Robert Moore and Betty Coltrane, The Willow Garden, King Kong Kitchen Kimio, Knoxville Girl, There's No Night Out in the Jail. That's What Jazz Is to Me. Where the Wild Roses Grow, which is a great song. Then you've got O'Malley's Bars, Part 1, 2, and 3, and then O'Malley's Bar, the reprise. Then we have Red Right Hand, Scream 3 version. Time Jessam Transcentium et Non Revertiam. Little Empty Boat, Right Now I'm a Roman. Come Into My Sleep, love that. Black Hair, band version is very cool. Babe, I Got You Bad. Sheep May Safely Gaze. And Opium Tea. Grief Came Riding. Bless His Ever-Loving Heart. Good, Good Day, which I love that one. Little Janie's Gone, love that one. I Feel So Good. Shoot Me Down. Swing Low, which is a great song. Little Ghost Song. Everything Must Converge. Nocturama. She's Leaving You. Under This Moon. Also got Hey Little Firing Squad. Fleeting Love. Accidents Will Happen. Free to Walk. Avalanche. Vortex. Needle Boy. Lightning Bolts. Animal X, Give Us a Kiss, and Push the Sky Away live with MSO. The First Skeleton Tree, King Size Nick Cave Blues, Opium Eyes, Big Dream with Sky, instrumental number 33, Hey Villanelle, Euthanasia, Life Per Se, Steve McQueen, First Bright Horses, which I absolutely love, First Girl in Amber, Glacier, Hearts That Kill You, First Waiting For You, Sudden Song, and Earthlings. And in addition to that, you get all the lyrics and the liner notes in this booklet, which is totally appropriate when you have a box set. You get some photos of the guilty parties. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Right there. So it is a really nice collection. Not a ton of stuff as far as photos go, but who cares? But you do get a nice write-up by another of the Bad Seeds co-conspirators, Sean O'Hagan, which is very nice. He's got a nice little essay in the back of the book here. I'll just hold it up for you. It's a couple of pages long. Talks about Nick Cave and company, and it's really, really neat. So that is the only thing I'm showing you this week. Just doing a Nick Cave special. Don't know how many people are into him, but I love him. And that's pretty much it. So, like I said, if you're new here, please subscribe. If you're not new here and you haven't subscribed, what the hell is wrong with you? Going to have at least 1 or 2 more shows, hopefully by the end of the week. I'm kind of cranking them out. Like I said, there's going to be, a catch-up show, like the shirt, red ketchup. We're going to do that and bring you all the stuff that's like falling between the cracks and stuff that I intended to get that didn't get till late, and yeah. And also I'm going to do another episode on another anniversary album that came out. They seem to be pumping them out. This one band keeps pumping them out like crazy, it seems. And I seem to do a lot of shows that involve them. We've got lots of new stuff coming out, so very, very excited about sharing it all with you. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Until next time, peace, one love, music. I'm out.